Hey YouTube friends, today is Thursday, May 17th, and I'm coming in with your daily Y&R review. Um, let's see. At the Crimson Lights, Nikki and Catherine are going back and forth about whether or not Jack is in love with her, and because, well, actually, it started out like that. Nikki and Jack are on the patio, and they're laughing and talking about something that she did with some kind of gala or something she had a long time ago, and he's like, you always make me laugh. I gotta go meet with Sarge, and this is definitely brighten my day. Catherine shows up, and she's telling Nikki, man, you can't tell me that Jack isn't in love with you. Nikki's like, we just good friends. He is not nowhere near in love with me. That's not true. We just good friends, and we've always had this special bond with each other. So Catherine brings up Victor and Sharon and says some innocent bystander is bound to get hurt between Sharon and Jack dealing with Victor and Nikki's whole thing. Um, Catherine, you know, still, Nikki say it doesn't matter. They can't be together because of the whole Kyle thing anyway. So Kyle is over at Victor's office and he wants to get an overall view of Newman. Victor takes him on a tour. Later on, Nikki shows up and she says she was there to see Nick. She wasn't there about Victor, but she still says she can't understand how you would hire Victor knowing that's going to interfere with how Jack and his relationship. Victor, goes off, he gets an attitude about it. He said Kyle asked him for the job and for a place to stay at the ranch. And Nikki mutters, so you say, and Victor hollers at her and tell her to go take care of Jack and, don't be worried about what I do and it's my business and you worry about Jack and all that. So Paul sees Ricky at the athletic club. He goes up to him and try to be nice. Ricky blows him off like, don't try to be, my daddy now. Don't try to have no conversation with me now. So Avery comes and Paul tells her that he feel bad that Ricky lost his girlfriend and he's gonna go meet with his girlfriend's best friend, but he's not gonna tell her he's Ricky's father. The coffee house, Catherine was talking with Eden and Michael and Lauren about Lauren and Michael living there and they don't have to have a rush. She didn't mind them living there and they like, no, we just really want to have our own place. And she said, well, you're always welcome. My home is welcome. Eden said she has to leave. She'll talk to them later. And Michael's like, well, call me soon you get to your apartment. Eden tells Lauren and Michael that Ricky left, but Daisy is still there with Daniel. Michael says that he won't move back until Daisy's gone. Lauren says that she can't let her Daisy ruin their lives. They decide to get a new house. About time, like why everybody still live in apartments? These rich people can have a house. But anyway, and bring Finn back, from London or wherever he is. So Catherine comes and so Catherine, she's there as they talking about all that. Eden is on her way out. Her and Abby get to throwing blows at each other. She's telling Eden, don't mess with Kyle anymore. Eden is telling her, when was the last time you had a man? It seems like you can't have one unless you're the naked heiress or something. How long you been back? When was the last time you had a man? And she said, I don't have a man because it's my choice. Whatever. So back at Daniel and Daisy's, Daniel telling Daisy he thinks they should move. Daisy asks why. Daniel tells Daisy it's because she shouldn't have to see Eden all the time, and they can move into his place. He don't want that to be a conflict or a problem in their marriage. He trying to soup it all up, even though he really don't care about her. So she said, okay, fine. Excuse me. So she said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get the packing. He said, all right, I'm going to go make sure the place is ready, and I'll come back and help you get the stuff. She said, okay. Daniel decides to stop by Crimson Lights where Lauren and Michael are there, and they're talking, and he decided to let them know to help them out. He's going to move Daisy in with him so they can move back into their place. So Lauren is happy, and she's like, thank you for doing this for us. I really appreciate it. Oh, you're awesome. And So he said he's doing it all for them. It's not about him, And Ava arrives and they catch her up on everything and tell her what's going on. And then Daniel was like, "Well, you guys go ahead and talk. I'm gonna leave." And they, after he leaves, they all get to talking about the living arrangements and how it's gonna be one his own circle of hell. So Eden is getting off the elevator and Daisy is in the hallway, and I think she was looking for Daniel or Ricky or whoever. So Daisy tells her that she and Daniel are moving to get away from her, so she don't have to worry about it. She said, "You had this one little fling with my man, and you're not gonna have it no more because we leaving. It was Daniel's idea, so we can be a family, and you can stay here." Excuse me. So Daisy goes back in the pack, leave Eden looking crazy. So it's a knock on the door, and Daisy's like, "I told you to stay away from my man." And Ricky shows up, and he says he has an offer she better not refuse. And he notices her packing, and he says, "Well, where you going?" And she said, "Me and Daniel decided to move in together." He said, "Well, and then they decided that he would move there at her old place." So she asks why she go along with it, but he says unless she does, he'll tell the court that Lucy kidnapped her, that her and him staged the whole Lucy being kidnapped thing. So Daisy agrees fine, but Ricky tells her that he had nothing to gain and the proof can be created. So she sniffs that they can have the place, that he can have the place, and later Eden is stunned to see Ricky moving in because she was getting ready to leave or something, and he was coming in, and she was like, "I thought you got all your stuff. What you doing here?" And he said, "Oh, I'm not moving in with you. I'm moving right here in this place. Already got somewhere." So she looked like, "Oh gosh." So Paul is wherever he's at, meeting Ricky's ex-girlfriend's best friend at the college. So he learns that Rachel, who was Ricky's girlfriend, was in foster care and then living on her own. So Melissa says that Rachel kind of deserves, justice. That justice was never brought out about what happened to her and all that. And she tells Paul that Ricky wanted everyone to believe she committed suicide, but he really thinks she keep trying to break them up, and he would get moody. And so the girl says Rachel finally ended it, and it looked like suicide, but she know it wasn't suicide. So Paul asked if she had the proof, and she doesn't want to say, but she never trusted Ricky, and in her heart, she said she knows she had something to do with her death. So that gives Paul like this strange look, like he can't believe this is his own son. So Abby goes back home after being at the coffee house and all that. And her and Kyle have they argue about him working with Victor. And he insists it had nothing to do with his dad. And Abby has 2 letters for him, B and S. And she challenges him to go to Jack. And he's not looking to get even. She challenges Kyle to go tell Jack he's not looking to get even. She's telling him how he's hurting his dad, and all he needs to do is talk to him, and how he messing up his life and all he done been through, and they just, have exchange of words about that. She's trying to be the auntie, I guess. So at therapy, or the cousin, I think they're cousins. So at therapy, Jack's turning purple because Sarge hollers at him to get in the chair, like Jack was on the floor and he was working out, and Sarge came in and he's like, "Oh yes, I'm doing so good, and I'm ready for the next thing. I'm ready to get walking again. All I need you to do is help me in this wheelchair." And Sarge like, "Oh, that's your next thing, getting yourself in that wheelchair." So he turned purple as Sarge hollers at him to lift his butt into the chair. Kyle and Abby arrive, and finally, he finally succeeds. uh, Jack makes Jack makes introductions. He tells Sarge that this is his son, and they introduce themselves, and Abby decides to leave. So Jack tells Kyle that he and Nikki, broke up or whatever, and Kyle's like, "Oh, now I feel like an ass because here you go in a wheelchair, and here I am being the bad son." So Jack's putting an epic effort. He telling him, "I've been putting an effort into trying to walk again, and he shouldn't have wrecked his life over something he didn't like." And Jack says Kyle is what matters to him, and he told him that he had broke things off with Nikki, and he was like, "Oh, why did you do that? Now I feel bad and all that." He's like, "Don't feel bad. I just want to be in your life, and if that's what I gotta do, that's what I have to do." So Kyle tells Jack to do what makes him happy, even if it's Nikki, or whatever it is. I'm not gonna hold it against you. You do your thing, I'm gonna do my thing. And then Nikki shows up and he decides to leave. Nikki was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt." And he was like, "Oh no, you didn't interrupt anything, you fine." So Nikki was like, "Oh, did I sense something? Is it some change? Are y'all okay?" And he was like, "Actually, it was a good talk. He realized some things, and he said he wants me to be happy, so whatever makes me happy." And he said, and it's even got something good, for both of us. So, he said he was glad Jack tells Nikki he was glad that she dropped by, and he says that he is in love with her, just like Catherine told her, but she wasn't trying to hear it. So Daniel, gets a knock at the door, and it's Daisy. She's at the apartment with Lucy. He's like, "What you doing here? I thought, I was gonna come and help you with all the stuff." She goes, "Oh, don't worry. I packed it all up. I can get the rest later. We just brought all the essentials, and they're in my car, and I just couldn't wait. We just couldn't wait to be a family." So Daisy tells Daniel, to hold Lucy while she makes a snack, and Daniel tells Lucy, "Welcome home." So Catherine goes to see Victor after Nikki had left and they had their words. Catherine comes up and she tell him, "You just old fool, and you stop with all this foolishness. You and Nikki, y'all know y'all meant to be together, and you just cut the crap and all of that." And he's like, "You always knew, us old people always know how to get straight to the point and tell people what they really need to know." So Victor says if Nikki wants to be with Jack, he couldn't care less. Catherine says Jack's in love with her, and Victor needs to go to her now. You need to go fight for your woman. In other words, is what Catherine's trying to say. Catherine, stay out of it, honey. Victor and Nikki is a lost cause. They ain't never gonna do right. That's just part of the show. Anyway, Paul is at the bar. He's looking all stressed out and upset because of what he found out about Kyle. Not Kyle, Ricky, and it's just like not adding up to him. He just don't understand. So as he taking his drink because he's back at the athletic club, Christine walks in. So today's the 17th. Christine has made her big debut. So Christine comes in the bar and they hug, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so happy to see you," but it was a different kind of hug, like, "Oh, thank God somebody's here." And he was like, she said she began wondering. He hugs her and says he began wondering today how much Ricky might be like Isabella, because she said she had came down for the whole Michael thing, Michael and Lauren thing. So Kyle returns to Abby's house and says he told Jack to see Nikki, and she's proud, and told Jack to see Nikki, and she's proud, and she's glad that he went ahead and being the bigger person or whatever. So that's what happened today. Tomorrow, Adam confirms to Sharon, because Sharon's going to come by for some reason. And he's going to tell her that yes, he and Chelsea are living together yet. Why you need to know, Sharon? Didn't you move on to Victor? Okay. Christine says Ricky never done anything violent. Paul responds, that we know of. So anything can be of secrecy. So Victor sees Nikki and Jack kissing because he was going by, I guess, to see Jack or whatever. And he see them kissing and he get his look like, "Oh, no, it's about to happen like that." So that's what happened today. I will get ready for tomorrow, Friday. And then Saturday, of course, is the spoilers. So I thank you guys so much for watching. And I will talk to you tomorrow with your daily Y&R review. And have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.